Here I said I'm going to do, that was going to be my last video, but I did this one earlier. So check out, if you're interested in that teal tub, which is going to be the later one. I was just talking about the differences on these two, and you kind of have to watch the conglomerate of videos today, or at least a little bit of them, to understand this. But as I reference the other videos so often, the later ones, there's some insignificant difference, but there are some differences between YJ tubs. Nothing major, but they're, just let me show you real quick. And then I'm also doing this for a few other reasons. One, I always do tub videos. I do a kind of an update on what we have in stock. Pre-dismantled tubs like this, or some of the ones I'm going to show you here in the back, we'll try to keep this video to about 15 minutes, are always going to be a discounted rate, and it's all based on cash flow. It's a lot easier for a shop our size. Although we are a big shop, we are little in size, you know, is who runs this, me and my wife and our employees. We have 7 acres, so we're big, but we're little, okay? And cash flow is king, right? You'll hear people say that, but that just means for us, if we have money on something, it's easier for us to get it into the dismantle bay, okay? Versus just willy-nilly going out and dismantle, which takes forever. You get a ton of parts out of it, which is great, but it's a huge mess, and it's a lot of work to do it that way. So we save customers significant amounts, and I'm talking at least 200, sometimes up to 500 bucks off. You know, like, let's just, for example, say I'm going to list this tub at 3,000, okay, and that may not be what it's listed at, but it's going to be 2,500 pre-dismantle. So that means if you see this in 6 months and call on it, we happen to still have it, but it's completely dismantled by then, it's a $3,000 price tag. That only goes for as long as there's a frame underneath it, and for the most part, the engine, that kind of stuff are in it, okay? So keep that in mind. You do save some money on stuff like that. And the other assurance you have, let's say you were to, you pay a deposit when you do pre-dismantle. It's usually 500 bucks. It is non-refundable in the case that you change your mind and we've started dismantle. Now, if we haven't started dismantle on it, then yes, it is refundable in that case. But let's put somebody puts a deposit on it, they come into the shop next day, so that's not very likely. But the reason I'm illustrating that is because people go, well, what if there's something I can't see? Yeah, well, we have a huge protection for that. It's 100% exchangeable. If I don't have one that was in the same price range as this one, or anything that have come in, and then we just refund it, which basically means that if I don't, as I'm doing this pre-dismantle video, which this one's not, this is just an overview of what we have, and I don't show you and adjust the price, because I do that ahead of time, and I come across, let's say the roll bar pad on the feet are rotted. Again, not likely, especially with given this area back here that I'm already seeing, but hypothetically, there's no risk on your part. We call you up, we say, hey, we didn't see this is what we're getting. We adjust it down and give you the option. You want to go ahead and buy it and deal with this at the new price. And if not, no problem. If I have another one, I'll do the same thing on it. We'll dismantle it, same thing. If we get to a point where we either don't have that option, and that's the only reason we don't have it, I refund it. That's their only thing to it. I've never taken any, that's not our point with it. Again, it's kind of cash flow based. So if you're looking for a little bit of savings, though, that is typically how a lot of people buy our tubs, is pre-dismantle. And that other reason of that is just they're really high in demand, and sometimes they sell before they come apart. So, but there's assurances, again, like I said. So I already went over this one, but I'm going to briefly touch on differences on a YJ tub and a TJ here in a minute from the years. So YJ goes from 87 to 95. You can use these on CJ7s. We'll talk briefly about that. And we'll talk about the insignificant, and it is, differences between an 87 to, let's say, 90, 91-ish, and then on up from a 91 to a 95. There was a slight split there, and overall the tubs are identical, but there is the easy way to tell if this is still intact is this has got a sticker. It may not have it. Some people peel them off. Okay, and that's a later one, so this is probably a 91 to 95. Other way, I know this is a 91, and the way I can tell is because it's got a clock in the middle of it up there, which is 87 usually to 90 only, except for 91, okay? And 91, this was a fuel-injected 4-liter, and 90, it was a 4.2 straight 6 carbureted, okay? Again, that has nothing to do, that's gonna make no difference on the tub, and obviously you can do whatever you want with the sticker. The later ones has a raised lettering, so it's just a quick thing if you look at one, and again, that can be peeled off. That tub, you can't, well, if you watch that video, just put it up, you'll see what I'm talking about there. And then the other couple things on a YJ that are slightly off, and I don't think I have, that one I just did was early, but the battery box is out of it, but I'll show you with this one. You see how that battery box sits where the long side of the battery would be up against the firewall? Okay, that is different because on the early ones, they sit to where the narrow side of the battery is against the firewall. And you clearly tell they did this for more support. It's, you know, weight distribution, whatnot. So there's a slight difference there. Not a hard one to get around, but definitely something to think about. And then the other one, which you probably can't see, is the way that charcoal canister. And again, you can't see the mount on it, but they're slightly more triangulated. So that's it on the YJ. For a CJ7, briefly, I'm not going to go into really big detail because this is a little bit more involved. Very easy to convert from a YJ to a CJ7, and I'll tell you why it's worth it. CJ7 tubs are almost impossible to find. If you find them, they're usually, if you're lucky, a C grade. B sometimes exist, and a B tub will go for what an A YJ tub goes for, and an A CJ7, if you can find them. I've only had maybe 5 in 10 years. Is easily $5,000–6,000, and no joke, and they sell as fast as we list them. So keep that in mind. If you are a CJ guy and needing a 7 tub, don't discount this one. Now, quickly, what are the differences? One is the tailgate. These swing out on hinges outways, and a CJ7 obviously drops down as like a drawer almost folds down. There's a kit you can get that will convert that, or you can run it YJ if you don't care. Filler neck for the fuel, okay, that's on the wrong side. That's normally over here for a CJ. So keep that in mind. Easy, again, sheet metal. Definitely not like piece of cake, but it's not as difficult as some people make it. Almost every body mount is the same. They bolt right up to tubs. That's not hard to do. There's 1 or 2 that sit slightly off, but those are fairly simple. And then the other part that is slightly different on these is the way the heater box is routed. In a YJ, the heater box is routed to where the vent for your defrost comes up through the dash pad. And on a CJ, it comes up through the actual window. And that doesn't seem insignificant, you know, it does seem insignificant, but it does matter a little bit. With the cowl is slightly different. And I showed it again on that white one, not really illustrating why I was showing it. That was for different reasons, but it's slightly more fatter, I should say, along the midsection to allow the venting to go up through that area versus in front of it like the YJs do. So, and there's 2 fixes for that. One is to do the top of the cowl. You can replace it or cut it, modify that. That's the simplest way. And then the way that a lot of people have been doing it, especially the body shops that are keeping complete original, is we cut out of bad tubs the top right here out of a CJ, and this is spot welded in there, and then they graph in this whole section. And you need a good CJ. So if yours is good there, you can do that, or we can sell you one in addition to the tub, and you can go that route. So that's those 2 differences on 87 to difference between like an 87 early YJ and a late YJ or a CJ7. Okay, and then let's go back here. I'm hoping my phone, I'm gonna put my phone down and out of the way because the sun is killing it right now. Coupled with video, I think heats them up too, but this sun, it keeps saying temperature, and then I'm putting it in the freezer until it cools down. It kills the video right when it happens. So hopefully, kind of keep it out of the phone idea somewhat. CJ5 tubs, just so you know, they're 100% different. They're shorter, so that's not really conversion at all. The frame's shorter, you have to extend your frame out, and then you can do that. I guess I don't know there's any reason for it, but okay, 9706 TJ tubs. There is a difference. 97 to 01 is the same tub. 2002 is on its own. 03 to 06 is on its own. Okay, and firewall is different on the 2. 03 to 06, they're closed in. There's a hole here on a TJ like this guy here. See that hole right there? That firewall hole there is for the heater box. That's one difference. The seats, the way these spit up in the back, or fold up, I should say. The brackets are kind of mounted to the side of the wheel wells, And on those, they have almost like a track bar or a track bracket that mounts them to only the floor. Okay, so if you run a later tub on an early or an early on a late, I usually recommend replacing the rear seat with the earlier or later style, depending on which way you're going. But you can nutsert this one. It's easier to go one way to the other. It's easier to go that way to this way. And you can look on our website for the brackets and see what I mean, because the wheel well brackets you have to do, well, it's probably not, nutserts go a long ways with that stuff. Just gotta, it's for, you know, safety, so you want to do it right. Okay, and then the O2 is on its own. There's a couple other things they box in slightly differently on these later tubs that kind of, let's see if it'll focus there. Let me zoom in here for just a second. You get this weird right here, this is all boxed in like an L shape. And on an early one, that's different. So not a huge, it's not, if you're going to be cutting it and replacing a section on it, you're going to want to know that, especially if you're buying that section from a shop or from a yard that's kind of, if you look at this one here, see, it's not really an L there, it just kind of ends there. So it doesn't, nothing to anything other than you can see that, again, they did it for structure support. The early ones didn't have it, later ones did. Seatbelts will interchange, but that will not interchange itself if you go from one to the other. And doors are the same, tailgates are different, but they'll work on each other. I feel like there's one more thing the O2 does. The O2 one is a weird one. It's got no hole here, so it's like an 03 to 06, but it's got the seat brackets of a 97 to 01. So that's why, so you get this weird 1 year only, and that makes O2s a little special for that reason, especially if you're wanting to restore it back to original and you have an O2. I have two O2s right now. Those are a little hard to get because it's 1 year only. All right, so real quick on TJ tubs, that should be a grade A, I would imagine, when it's fully dismantled. 03 to 06, okay, black one. This white one here, it's got a little damage on the rear, but otherwise that one's 9701, nice and clean. This is a really beautiful California one I just picked up, and it's gorgeous. It's red maroon, 97 to 01. Yep, 9701, same. Yeah, and there's those seat bracket mounts I was just talking about. See how they mount up to the side? The other ones mount here and here. All right, and that's another early one. That one's actually pretty nice. That's a white one. I got a few more TJ options, but I've had a lot more TJs come in recently. Nice black. Oh, this one I just picked up as well. This is another California one. That's also 9701. This one may be spoken for on a job we're doing here. I got a CJ6 tub, 72 to 75. Very clean, almost rust-free. There's little areas they've already repaired on it. Absolutely beautiful. Very rare. Used to find those things almost all over the place, and they were kind of the ugly stepchild, but now it's a 5. Look at it right there. So it's not like the later ones where they have a full door. That's still got a CJ5 door, but it's longer, like an LJ, which is really cool. Or a Scrambler Ace, you could say. Similar, not exactly, but similar. Okay, this is an 02 one. Nope, this is a 9701. I have a green 02 one, looks just like this. So that's a 9701. That one's in pretty good shape. Again, none of these have been videoed. That's part of the reason they're only sitting here. None of these are listed, okay? That is a lower grade, but early CJ7 tub. And it's been repaired, not repaired great, but repaired somewhat. That would be like a high C, low B. And I believe that one is listed. Surprised that one hasn't moved because they're that hard to get. And my A's go so quickly, but I think people just with doing restorations on CJ7s have a little bit bigger budget sometimes. Okay, this one here, another nice and clean one with no damage, I don't believe. Yeah, see, that's a sealed, this is an 02 right here. Sealed up here, but your seat bracket should still be on the side. And they're probably pulled because those sell quickly. Yep, there's a hole for those. So that's an 02 one, needs to be cleaned out. That one is done. That's a cutter, one we'll cut things out of, or somebody will buy it as a crawler tub. That's a TJ one. This is a CJ5. 7683. That's not like a C grade. It's got some damage on it. My phone, I can actually feel it hot, so it may end this video. I'll do the number real quick: 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com, just in case it cuts off, because it is getting a little hot underneath my hand here. 97 to 01 red tub, beautiful. That's going to be a nice clean grade A. Blue 02. Actually, both of these are 02s. So I got 3 02s right now. A blue and two green. No, I take that back. Yeah, no, I do. It's green, blue, and this green one. This guy here, green. Is it green or black? It's green. It's a little hard to tell. The reason I'm having a hard time with this one, this is my only one I have left. This is an LJ tub. They only did these from 04 to 06, and they are essentially the longer wheelbase, kind of like I showed you on that CJ6. Okay, I own one of these. It's a Rubicon one. This was probably a non-Rubicon, and this is probably an 04, I would imagine, the first year of them. But nonetheless, 04 to 06, if you happen to have a TJ and you're wondering, or you've always wanted a LJ, there's a great way to do it right now. Buy this thing and buy a frame that I have back here that is slightly tweaked in the front, easily to fix. That frame is a quarter of what they normally go for. I don't have any clean frames right now that aren't bent. That one, unfortunately, I still bought that one loose, knowing the guy, and this is a perfect reason why you don't buy frames from big yards. They claimed it was straight. I walked in, I used a tool. I can use the tool in the yard, and when you get it back here to our yard, we do a better job. We have like a vise, we put them inside, and it's pretty easy to square them up. But the tool allows me to do it on the fly, and it was remarkable in showing them, and they seen it as I did it. But anyway, I still bought it because it was a beautiful frame, and it's not bent bad, but it was bent enough. And I got it for a song. So, and like I said, my plan is probably to build this one if I don't sell it myself, build another one, and then have a local frame shop straighten it. People always wonder how you straighten frames. I'll tell you something. One of the guys that used to do it for me in Denver, let's see, my wife's probably calling me. Nope, mom's calling me. I'm supposed to go camping. Anyway, they usually, body and frame shops usually have you mount everything up, and they want to do it when the wheels are under it, but that's not always the case, but that is the case the guy I used to deal with. So, okay, that's the 02 one, 97 to 01, white one. Don't know the full condition of that one, but nonetheless, we have probably about 10 total nice TJ frame, tubs. I got a couple frames for TJs. Those are even harder to get. YJs, I have a few on as well. I got a 2-door. This is a 2011 to 2018. This one came off of 15. That's a 2-door JK tub. Beautiful. Got a couple dings, but no rust. This is an 07 to 10 2-door black, also rust-free. Beautiful. It's not fully torqued.